At this time, I'd like to have our Vice Chairman, Tom Reynolds, come to the podium.
Many years ago, I came home from work one day, and there on the kitchen table was a letter. And the letter started out, "Greetings from the President of the United States. I had been drafted." So I did what millions of men had done before and after me. I shook hands with my dad and went off and took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. Not just the parts of the Constitution that I liked, but the whole thing. We Republicans believe in the Constitution as it was written, not as Eric Holder thinks it should have been written. After I got out of the Army, got married, started a career, started a family. But while I was minding my own business, there was a movement taking hold of America. Call it what you will, socialism, liberalism, statism. At its core, they're all about government controlling our lives. We Republicans believe that we should control our lives. Republicans believe the Constitution was written to limit government, not to empower it. But during the 60s and 70s, liberalism captured our media. But in 1980, a strong voice echoed across America. A voice that said capitalism, the free market, free enterprise, private property ownership system was valid, that America was a shining city on a hill and the last best hope of mankind. And we rallied to that voice. Liberalism may have captured the media, but it hadn't captured our hearts and our minds. But of course the media dismissed Ronald Reagan as just that crazy cowboy from California. And when Reagan applied his economic wisdom to foreign affairs and said the Soviet Union was condemned to the ash heap of history, an evil empire, liberals gasped and said, "He can't say that." But the people enslaved behind the Soviet Union, they said, "Yes." We Republicans know that liberalism will fail. It failed in the Soviet Union. Try finding it on a map today. And remember, the USSR stood for Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Communist China couldn't feed its own people until it tried capitalism. Now they're a world economic power. And I'm sure I don't have to remind you about what a success European liberalism has been. Liberals criticized the Reagan era as the rich got richer. Well, so did most of the rest of us. But in the Obama era, the poor have gotten poorer, as well as most of the rest of us. Obama has made the federal budget a gigantic Ponzi scheme, where he borrows more money to pay back the money he's already borrowed. Frankly, Ponzi was a piker. We need to rename them as Obama schemes. One thing we Republicans know that liberals have not yet learned, eventually somebody has to pay for everything. Almost 100 years ago, my maternal grandparents came over on the boat. Probably everyone here can trace their ancestors back to immigrants. Think of their courage. They left their families, their homes, their churches, whatever support system there was, and in many cases they never saw them again. But they came, not because there was a social services network to greet them, but for the chance for a better life. And they achieved that life by going to work, by getting a job. Republicans believe jobs, not a lifetime on social services. Jobs give us dignity, jobs increase our self-worth, and jobs contribute to society. Welfare begets welfare. We believe in helping our neighbors, but not in a welfare state that condemns people being slaves of the bureaucracy. Jobs are what we Republicans are about. And my dad, my grandparents were legal immigrants. During the depths of the American Revolution, Thomas Paine wrote, "The sunshine soldier and the summer patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country. But he who stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman." We are in a crisis. Liberalism has spread through our government and threatens to bring down the very foundations that made us, without apology, the greatest nation in history. Will we be sunshine soldiers and let liberalism's false idols destroy all we hold dear? We must rise to the moment and take back our country, town by town, county by county, state by state. And in 2012, Barack Obama, we're coming for you. Paine asked people to give their blood. We ask for your time, your sweat, your energy, and yes, your money. Because without your donations, we can't achieve victory. But we are a party resurgent even in Tompkins County. We even have a Republican running for the mayor of Ithaca. This is our time, and this is our moment. We must succeed or our nation will endure more years of darkness. Before we meet, Republicans said to pledge allegiance. Its words have meaning, and we unashamedly say, under God. But we should not forget the next word, indivisible. We Republicans believe in a united states. Our opponents seek power by dividing our nation, not just class warfare based on wealth, by dividing us between the ruling class in government and we the people. Republicans believe in uniting, not dividing, and that we the people govern our nation. Tonight we honor those that have served in our nation, have served our nation in the armed forces. For without their sacrifices, we wouldn't be here tonight. Over the years, I've heard many words of praise for veterans, but my favorite was said by, who else, Ronald Reagan. Reagan spoke on the 40th anniversary of D-Day at a place called Point du Hoc on the Normandy coast. Point du Hoc is a cliff, and on D-Day, U.S. Army Rangers scaled that cliff under murderous enemy gunfire, suffering terrible casualties, but they took that cliff and the liberation of Europe had begun. In front of Reagan were the living survivors of those year Rangers, their families, their friends, and others. And in his simple but elegant way, Reagan praised them and by extension, all the many victories for freedom that America had led. Reagan said, "Behind me is a monument that symbolizes the daggers thrust into the top of the cliff by the Army Rangers. And in front of me are the men who put them there." Inspired by the words of Paine and Reagan, the deeds of our veterans, and guided by the principles of our party, the principles that made America great, we must leave here tonight revitalized and re-energized. Not just for the tasks of the next month, but for the years ahead. With your dedication, the liberation of America has begun. Let's just do it. Thank you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.